We had another busy day on Wednesday, 9/10 for the NQ and ES markets. So looking at the NQ, we can see the marked out periods are 3 a.m. Eastern, the news at 8:30, the opening at 9:30, and then the afternoon session at 1 Eastern. Well, what can we see? Well, looking at the LuxAlgo indicators, we can see a pretty good trending market with the early hours of the London sessions from 3 to 8:30. Pretty much some general consolidation from that period. We can see using the LuxAlgo oscillator, overall bearish trend, trending down. But if you were to look into the Asian session, you can see that this is still more of a consolidation period. There was some scalping opportunities here, as you can see, at 3:30, and then again at a potential at 6:27. These again are opportunities. Nothing is ever positive. You may lose everything. When you look at this, you can also see that at around 7:48, there was a good break of structure, which again is a continuing trend, helping to align to what may occur coming up. As you can see, there was a small downtrend, but we had the blue neocloud allowing us to stay in the market. We can see at the news at 8:30, we had a strong reaction to it, moving up. So following, this would have been a good indicator, as you can see here, that we had bearish, break of structure, swing. We had blue neo, which again, the market's either going to go up or down. So it's going to do one of the two, right? So here was a good setup opportunity for you to do a quick scalp. Again, the risk is yours. This is just kind of how I have a setup done. You can see here also on the oscillator that we were showing pretty much a bearish money flow, or sorry, a bullish money flow. And, actually just kind of a quick pullback with the wick. Every time there's news, right, if I move this over, you can see that they kind of wick down below the neocloud. Coming to 9:30, there was we had the reaction up. The market sentiment after that didn't align, and we had the decrease down. As you can see, the overall market changed. We have a couple different order blocks that were created throughout the day, but overall the trend went from bullish to bearish, back to a quick bullish. And if you were to do some, quick fib charting on it, you can see that there was a pretty good 0.5 pull. 1.5 is actually up here, but you can see a quick 0.5 pull there. So there was some quick decisioning that was not where the market wanted to go. You can also see with the oscillator that we start trending down. You can see if you go back to 4 a.m., this is where the transition happened. You had a good overflow indicator firing. And then you could see several different times where the oscillator was indicating down. The market didn't respect that, but it sooner or later did. Really starting with the 8:30, you can see at this point that we never came back and took out the wick high from the 8:30, and really that was my indication, is that I was following the wick high. You can actually see that we came within the opening, we came within 50% of the wick high. I know these are just rough drawings, but you can kind of see here that we couldn't break above 50% on the open. We came down and we actually had a good retracement here back to the wick high, and then we bounced off of the wick high and then continued down, right? So we couldn't break the wick high. We still had a positive money flow. This, again, just because there's money flowing into the market doesn't mean that's where the market's going to move. The neocloud was saying down. We had a good indication here. This is a really strong indication of a downward market. You've got a retracement that we couldn't retrace the 930. We couldn't retrace the wick. A good entry opportunity here, as you can see that this is a micro divergence from here to here and from here to here. Just it's a good setup. There's a couple different convergences here. This is on the 3-minute time frame. I'm not a minute guy. Again, another just failure points here. How you trade, what you want to take from a position, it's up to you. But this, if I was doing my 60 ticks, you could have easily gotten 200 here. Very safely gotten 100. It's up to you. There was also then another, as you can see here, a pullback back into the Neo cloud. And this is actually 50% of this wick. So if you go back here with the cloud, you look at the 830, and this was a 50% wick here. And we can move it across properly. You can see here, this is a 50% wick. So again, it came up. The 12 o'clock hour is obviously a pretty critical hour. I look at the 3, the news, the 930, and then the 1 o'clock, so 1300. So this would have been a good shot down. You can see here, if you were to go into price action concepts, and if I put on swing highs, swing lows, you would have seen a pretty clear, lower low, pivot there. So opportunities to take that action out would have been there, depending on how you draw your lines. Everybody's different about that. Everybody's different on the scale. The opportunities really that pullback in the Neo cloud, the continuing decrease of the oscillator, and then for me, my next entry was really the 1 o'clock, because I'm a kind of a AM break for lunch, and then the PM, and then you can see down as you go through. You've got we really never tried to take out any of these order blocks that were there. We just continued to trend down throughout the day, and then we came down to this area here. And that really was the first bullish order block of the day. So bearish to bullish. A lot of these were just really, if you're a fib person, 50% fibs. You can see there 50%. You have another pullback, 50%. And then you have this pullback here that really breaks the 50% rule. So you may have wanted to come in here, 3:30 on the afternoon. There's always kind of a change in direction. So you can see you may have taken that, but very quickly it proved you wrong, depending on how you want to trade. So you had a validation step here, a validation step here, an invalidation step here, and then another setup here for potentially a pull down and a push back up into the Asia market. So looking at that, you can see you don't need a lot of indicators. As you go through, I'm just going to remove these here real quick. The market, 3 a.m., it started off somewhat bullish, but you had a higher higher, and then a lower high, setting up a potential situation for a bearish entry. That would have been an opportunity for you to look at. Would I have taken that? Probably not, just because I can see that we're kind of oscillating here. And then here you've got your lower high or lower low and lower low. And then you've got your lower low, lower high. So this is really that intersection here where that would have been your next opportunity to come back up. Same thing looks through within the market. ES played out very similar. And then you can also, if you go look at RTY, Another very similar play. I think the Russell was a little bit more active throughout the day. But again, same thing. The 830 highs couldn't be taken out. Gold, a little bit on its own journey right now. I think there's a little bit of consolidation happening with gold. And then with oil, right? There was some oil news today, along with, you can see here when the oil news came out at 11, spiking the market, and then not really a reaction to the 830 news. I think the key is, regardless if it's NQ, I know when I'm in a bearish mode, I know when I'm bullish. ES, you can see the same thing, right? Bearish, bullish. How's it reacting to other indicators? Where is it within the trend? I couldn't take out the Asia low, so I'm looking high. Russell, same thing, right? I couldn't take out the Asia low. So, if I can't take out the Asia low, I'm probably going to be looking more favorable bearish. And this is what it showed. But you can see with Russell that it was in a bearish state all the way up until the news. So this one would have been a much tougher because of that, sentiment of being negative. And then obviously gold really didn't have too much reaction to 830, but it was in a kind of a bullish trend overnight. I hope this helps. Look forward to talking to you tomorrow. If you like this, please like and subscribe. Otherwise, have an awesome day.